simply want to break down the process of how I live my life, how I structure my life, and how I'm able to balance all these different areas of my life, such as footy, work, running a business, work with my old man, specifically balancing a relationship as well and spending time with family, also spending time with myself as well, so that's also really important. So it just really comes down to routine and finding what works for you, because there's not going to be anyone's routine which is going to suit your lifestyle specifically, because everyone is super different and everyone runs their own lifestyle. So don't try and put someone else's routine into your lifestyle, because it just simply won't work. There's going to be like 0.001% of times where that's actually going to work, and you might see a day in the life of someone who you really look up to and you really want to try and live that lifestyle. I guarantee you 99% of the time that isn't going to suit you. So finding something which suits your lifestyle is going to be extremely important, and trying to fit all aspects of your life and what you want to focus on, putting that into your schedule and putting allocated times per week is what's going to be really important. So I suggest what's worked really well for me is getting myself a calendar. I personally use Google Calendar and a journal, and this has helped me so much to just reflect and make changes as my life goes on when it's very scattered, because I don't work a set schedule with my old man in his business. Like, it's a few days a week. Sometimes I might start at like 12 in the afternoon, sometimes I might start at 8 in the morning. So it's very unstructured, which obviously isn't ideal, but sometimes that's just the way life is, and you just got to control the controllables. So what I do is I open up my calendar for the week and I put in set schedules, which is I know I'm going to attend to, which I'm going to change. So number one thing straight away which comes to mind is footy training. Like, footy training is going to be on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday morning. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday night time, and then Saturday morning when we train or whether we've got a game. I just block that out of my schedule, and I just know that I'm going to be attending, because that's the number one thing that's not going to change. And if it does change, that can be great, because it can open up time which I can put towards other things. But footy does take a lot of my time. It's about 16 hours a week which I'm spending at the club, which is not a bad thing. It's a great thing, because that's pretty much all my exercise for the week, besides walking and obviously work, but that's the main blocks. So 4 times a week, we're going to the gym, we're running, we're doing whatever, kicking the footy, obviously at footy training. So those are the 4 days where I know that I'm going to guarantee exercise, and I block that out in my calendar straight away. Number 2 is just finding a really good routine of waking up and going to sleep, because this can really dictate your entire day, whether you're a morning person, you're waking up at 5 a.m, or whether you like to sleep in and wake up when your body naturally wakes up, whether that's 8 a.m, 9 a.m. I like to find the sweet spot. I think 7 a.m. for me works really well, just because it's not too early and it's not too late as well. Like, you still get to start the day. The sun's just getting up around that time here in Adelaide, so that's really important for me. I think that works really well. Sometimes I might sleep in closer to 8 and wake up naturally when my body needs to wake up, and I think that's a really good way of getting rest as well. So 2 things down, block it out on a calendar, and then making sure your sleep routine is dialed in, waking up at the same time every single day, going to sleep at the same time every single day. And back to the journal as well. This is really good to reflect on what worked, what didn't work, and you can make adjustments as you go. Just turning up the sauna because it's not hot enough. Cool. So those 2 things, calendar and finding a routine to wake up and go to sleep, and then a journal to reflect on how your day went. You can make any changes and see how you felt on a day-to-day basis, and whether anything in your calendar may need to change. And then so the other aspects are probably nutrition, on how I can balance that. So what I've been doing for the past couple of weeks, month or so, has been meal prepping. So I've been meal prepping on a Sunday, blocking that time out to make sure I'm getting my meals set for the week, because it's really important to have my meals. And I feel like when I try and rely on family choices, it's not very sustainable for me, because it's not predictable, and I'm not sure what I'm going to be putting in my body every single day, whether that's leftovers, whether I need to make something on the go. But I find personally meal prep for me is really helpful, because I can just have all the food in the fridge and I can just pull from that whenever I need to on a day to day.
Hey mate, you're going to have a rest of that soon, right?
Yeah, no worries. Thank you. Just got told off by the workers to get out the sauna. So going to keep this pretty chill and get this done as soon as possible. So those 3 things, nutrition, calendar, and waking up and going to sleep at the same time. And then the other areas are probably my relationship and spending time with family members. So that's also really important and key part to me. So I like to spend time on my relationship, especially on the weekends when I've got plenty of time, but also during the week, making that happen, whether that's after footy training, and seeing my girlfriend, or spending time with my family, and whether that's enjoying a meal together, going for a walk, just doing these activities which I can balance and still spend meaningful time, be present, and really switch off and put my mind away from other areas. And then when it comes to work, that's just throughout the entire day. So whether I'm working with my dad, that will probably be during the day. Normally I like to work in the back half of the week, so Wednesday to Friday is normally ideal. And then that's when I'm spending most of my time working with my dad, and that's normally from 8 to about 3. So in the back half of 8 till 3 are probably the main days which are being blocked out. And then Monday to Tuesday, most of the time I do have to myself. So these are the days where I can take calls, run my own business, and then also a gap between 3 till 5 is when I also spend a lot of time on my business, because this is the time between footy training and I finish off from work. Probably not ideal, and I prefer to just be full-time in my own business personally, but these 2 hours, they can be focused on the business and myself. Obviously not ideal, I prefer to work on my business in the morning, but I also do like to take this time to have a slow morning, think, and really plan ahead on my day, and just really get in a good mindset. So those 2 hours can be a bit tiring and a bit draining before training, because I've already worked on my dad's business and it's now time to work on mine. So that is quite hard, but I like to just really have intentional times where, whether I'm working on my dad's business, have a clear, say, half an hour reset where I switch from one mode of doing physical work for his business to, say, digital work, whether I'm taking calls, making content, replying to people in the messages. This helps me to just take that transition, get in a really good headspace before making that change. So that's really important to me as well, and I think that's really crucial. Like, you should have set times, you should be in a really good headspace before going from one mode to another, because I find a lot of people, they go from work straight to footy and their mind's still thinking about work and their mind's still racing. So making that switch and getting in a good mindset, whether that's 5 minutes of breathing, not scrolling on your phone, just going for a walk, fresh air, or maybe working out for 5 minutes, or just going from this like little transition from being full on, being fully stressed out, to maybe footy training where it's a bit more laid back and it's more about physical activity, and not so much on the physical. Well, footy training also being physical and mental, but switching off from work, which is also could be physical and mental as well, but mainly physical. Just making that transition a whole lot easier just by switching off and getting your brain ready to go for another whole block, whether that's 2 hours of intensity, high intensity training. So I found that's really important for me. So the key points here are filling the gaps with my business and family and relationships, being able to switch off and being present in the moment. Really important, because you're a lot more valued in the moment when you're being present, and people actually want to spend time with you because you are there. And then with that as well, you just want to block out time on your calendar for set times on a day-to-day basis, whether that's, your training or your work times. Like, I know for a lot of people who are probably watching this video are going to be full-time, so you can block out those times in. Maybe in the morning you can get out your workout if you're not training in the afternoon. So just find a routine, like I said at the start of the video, which works for you, and just put it into calendar, make adjustments. It's going to take weeks, it's not going to take days. Just think long term, slowly make tweaks, add things in here, but really important to not add too much and think, wow, I'm being heaps productive by adding, but actually do more by removing things, because you might be going on all these trying walks, you might try and meditate, you might try to journal, you're trying to take a cold shower, you're trying to brush your teeth, have breakfast, meal prep, you're doing all this stuff and you're just going to get burnt out. So just have a slow morning, which works for me, unless you like to be fast and go in a rush. But that's just what works for me. I think that's the key message I'm trying to say in this video, is do what works for you, because that's so important, and just don't try and listen to anybody else's schedule, and whatever you feel is best, just stick to it. Make adjustments as you go, and remove from your schedule. Don't try and add. Just remove. Simplify things, and it'll make it so much easier. So hope this video helped. Take some learnings from this. Go download Google Calendar and make some changes. Get after it, brother.